Hi, Mr. Torley. We are currently day 3 in our day trip in Heidelberg right now. So overall, we've done a tour of the whole town, and we went to the church. We went to the castle. We've been kind of around the main strip into the middle of town square. So very interesting here. There's a lot of like really cool architecture, and like we're in front of a church right now here, and there's like a lot of cool things, and the architecture overall is just super beautiful and super cool and pretty. And there's like a lot of like small strips and alleyways, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of Cuba because of like how like small the streets are, and like there's cobblestone, which is different, but it's like all like stone, and it's all like it's kind of squishy, and there's a lot of different stores and restaurants everywhere, and a lot of like markets, and they're like open air, so they've got like all of their stuff kind of outside, which I think is really interesting and like a really cool connection to our kind of other trips. Something historical, the whole history of the castle, but in particular one thing was the huge wine barrel in the basement that they used to like fill up using like multiple other barrels. Like it's this, I forget how much it holds. It wasn't 60 gallons, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, 60 gallons, Adriel says. 60 gallons. We were in different groups. 60,000 gallons. Yeah, 60 gallons is not a lot. 60 gallons. We got our number in liters. It was like 200 and something thousand liters. It was insane. It was insane. And it was like this massive, and it was beautiful, and it was like literally I was standing as Mr. Babcock's daughter, and like we fit underneath this one little part of it, and it was like towering above us, and we were like looking at it, and we were like, how did they drain it? Like, how did they get all the wine out there? Because like the big part of the history was that they filled it up, and it was so full that like the wood started to like break apart, and the wine started like leaking out, so they had to drain it, and then it's just there now. Like there's nothing in it that's not for use. So we were kind of like wondering, and like we asked, and there wasn't really a definitive answer. It was kind of like they used this long pipe to like suck out all the wine, and they just drank it, and they distributed it elsewhere. And another place we went that really does connect to a big world event and a big world issue was we went to this other church, and they were talking about World War II, where there's the river, the main river, I forget what it's called, and there's the 4 bridges going over the river, and they were talking about how in World War II they planted bombs along the bridges so that the Americans and like the Allies couldn't cross over or anything like that, and the bombs all kind of went off, or the bombs went off, and it blasted all of the windows out of this church out, or a lot of them at least, and they got replaced by these like really cool, beautiful, like kaleidoscope type windows that were all made of like these different kinds of glass, and it was all like really cool, and it was super interesting to see. And it was like this church that was split up between the 2 different main religions at the time, Catholicism and Protestantism and Lutheranism. So there were archways in the church that apparently like were built into a wall, and the choir side was given to the Catholics, and the I forget what the back side was called. It was just pews, and the rest of the church was given to the Protestants and the Lutherans. So, and then in the 1990s, the wall officially got knocked out, and it was restored into this whole church again. And like all the windows are different, and there's a lot of arguing about what they were going to do with the windows. So what ended up happening was this one lady did her kind of version of the windows on one side of the church, and it was like the kaleidoscope, and the other side was restored. And this one guy tried really hard to get the windows to kind of be this representation of the university and like the different courses. So there's one window, and it represents the physics program, and it kind of talks about like the Hiroshima bomb in Japan, and physics. It has like the E = MC² equation on it, and it's red, and it's really beautiful. And then the rest of them are kind of like this open concept of like just art, and they're just like super like up for interpretation. And yeah, that was it basically for that church, and it was super interesting to see, and it was really cool to look at, and it was just beautiful and amazing and a really great experience. And overall, this town is so lovely, and the river's really cool, and they're seeing like a lot of pigeons, and there's a lot of restaurants and scooters and bikes everywhere, and it's very Germany. Like, this is like kind of what I was thinking of when I was thinking of Germany. There's a lot of like old buildings, old lampposts, a lot of bikes. There's a lot of modern architecture, but most of it's like pretty old. There's like some more buildings, and over that way, and over that way, it's like a lot of different alleyways and just really old, beautiful buildings and architecture. See you in the next vlog. Bye.